Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, holding it down for C-Dub and Bobby on the daily episode of the podcast. On today's episode, we're going to go over the numbers in the Bears game against the Washington Commanders, things that stuck out that we need to address. We're also going to talk about Matt Eberflus's comments towards rookie Kyler Gordon. We're going to take a look at the rookies that Ryan Poles drafted and how they're faring thus far into the season. And then we'll be diving into your voicemail since I did forget to do the mailbag episode Friday. We'll get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, so now that everything's kind of settled and we're a few days removed from the Bears' terrible loss against the Washington Commanders, there are a couple of things that stand out in that game that need to be addressed and need to be noticed first. First of all, it's 0 points scored in 3 trips inside the red zone and inside the 5-yard line at that. The Chicago Bears' inability to score touchdowns has been the story of the season, just right up there with Justin Fields' up and down play, the offensive line, Sam Mustipher, everything. It's right up there along with everything else is that the issues of the Bears not being able to get in the end zone. Hopefully, once this Bear team fully clicks on offense, if that does happen this season, we start seeing the trips to the red zone more and more. We did score a touchdown in this game, so that's at least good in that sense, but we need to definitely get into the end zone more. We need to find our ways in there. And when you really look at the Bears being able to get inside the 5-yard line on 5 different trips and not being able to score, especially on, of course, that attempt at a game-winning drive. So we'll see with that. But on the flip side of that, the Bears only allowing 1 touchdown as well. You know, the Bears did not play the best consistently on defense or on either side of the ball. The defense did play pretty well in that. When you look at the defense, the way they were able to get to the quarterback, the QB hits, 3 sacks by the Chicago Bears on Carson Wentz, and the team that so far this season we have not had the best pass rush as I thought was going to carry over into the regular season from the postseason. But you know, that's showing some signs of positivity there. We did only allow 1 touchdown. We got 3 sacks in that, so positive things the Bears can build on there. Also, 5 sacks on Justin Fields. We know what this offensive line and the hole that we have there and the fact that we need to get it together there. But that is something that stands out. We gave 11 sacks over 2 games early in the season and have 5 sacks this season. They need to figure it out. The 18 QB pressure zone, Justin Fields on top of the 5 sacks, that tells and paints an even bigger story and why, like I said even in my postgame, is everything on Justin Fields? No. Is some of it on him? Yes. Is some of it on the offensive line? Is some of it on the drop passes? There's a lot of blame to go around with why this offense is failing. But again, until we can protect Justin Fields, it's going to be really hard to truly evaluate him. Dante Pettis had a good game in 84 yards receiving from Dante Pettis, rebounding from his last game, 88 rushing yards from Justin Fields. And his ability to make plays with his legs really saving the Bears at time. He had 12 carries for 88 yards. Only 99 passing yards by Carson Wentz as well. But the thing that the Bears did allow that I was hoping that they were not going to allow was a big rushing game, which they allowed the Washington Commanders to have 128 yards rushing. But did have 238 yards rushing by the Bears. So it's things like that. It's with everything that we see with the Bears, there's some good, some bad. It's just trying to bring it all together into where we can be a competent NFL team. And hopefully that comes at some point in the season. But these are just things that even taking the weekend and things like that, and even though we dropped the episode yesterday that, we didn't get into the ins and outs of the games because I personally, and I can say this for me, I needed some time to separate from it just to kind of better reevaluate it, better just take a look at this game for what it was. What went well, what went bad. It was a disappointing loss. It was a frustrating loss for sure. Younger me would have definitely punched something. Luckily, I'm healed from that. I'm a little bit growner now. But with that being said, all right, so that's kind of the Bears by the numbers. Now, let's look at head coach Matt Eberflus's comments towards Kyler Gordon and his improvement over the course of the season so far. He says, we know it's a learning process with a younger player. We know they're going to go through some ups and downs, some ins and outs as you go through. For example, Kyler Gordon, look at the way he played last night, talking about against the Commanders. Well, he played pretty good, didn't he? So he has a couple of ups and downs during the season, but he has stayed the course with his eyes and vision forward to improve. He's made a lot of nice tackles, made a lot of nice plays on the ball, and I thought he played really well. Kyler Gordon has improved, right? I think when you look at like the fact that he's going to be picked on his whole rookie season, so I don't expect Kyler Gordon necessarily have the best season this season when you look at it, especially when you have Johnson out and things like that. But the thing with this is that it's the growth, right? If you're learning from your mistakes, if you're showing the growth week over week to where you're improving in some things, not necessarily being perfect. Yes, Jaquan Brisker has had a great season for the Chicago Bears, and I think it's natural to kind of compare the two and their seasons. And, Jaquan Brisker, 35 total tackles, 25 solo, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovered. Jaquan Brisker's had a very solid and consistent season, and that's what what is more evident with Jaquan Brisker is that his season's just been more consistent throughout, whereas Kyler Gordon has had some very, very bad games, some really, really good halves, right? And it's been more up and down. Everybody's development is not linear. And so that's what we're seeing with these two players. And I know a lot of Bears fans are like, well, we should have went with a wide receiver. Look at what's happening. And that's natural to think. And I've been there before as well. Like I understand what you're going at with this, but I think overall, Ryan Poles has had a pretty solid draft, right? It's some good, some bad, and everything that you look at. When you look at Kyler Gordon, we just talked about him, very up and down season so far. I would say his season's probably more bad than good, but the flashes of good still leave you a lot of hope for Kyler Gordon as a player. Jaquan Brisker, again, the most consistent, been playing very well throughout. Velus Jones Jr., he has a touchdown receiving, so shout out to that. But the muff punts has to stop. Every time, like, he has to figure out a way. I don't know if it's nerves, I don't know what it is, but he has to figure it out. And if the Bears do decide to move away from him in the punt return game, that's on him. Now, hopefully he uses that to improve and focus a little bit more, and I think we'll still see him eventually back out there, even if he is removed. But very up and down season for Velus Jones Jr. Braxton Jones, I am very high on Braxton Jones. When you look at some of the ratings that come out from Pro Football Focus in our last game, Braxton Jones did very well guarding. He's, yes, had an up and down as well. He's a rookie offensive lineman. It's going to be that for him. But overall, I look at Braxton Jones as being a positive in that draft class for the Chicago Bears. If I had to put a number on his season, I'd give him probably a C- in how he's done, considering he's protecting the quarterback's weak side. He's been targeted at times. He's dealt with it well for the most part. And yeah, he has his games where he gets completely blown up. That definitely happens. But I think the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes to Braxton Jones, in my opinion. You guys don't necessarily have to share that. Let me know what you guys think about that one down below. But again, I'm looking at that more positive than negative. Dominique Robinson, you guys know I'm super high on Dominique Robinson. At this point, him and Travis Gibson should be the starting defensive ends, in my opinion. When you look at a 5th round pick from Dominique Robinson, what he's been able to come in and do for the Chicago Bears team early on, I am super high on Dominique Robinson. Am I too high? One could probably say yes. And, I can admit that. But what I've seen from this kid when he's out there is he's just a playmaker. He goes out there and he makes plays, and as like sometimes you look at even, and I'm not saying he's better than Robert Quinn, but there are times out there when Robert Quinn is out there and you don't even know he's there. Dominique Robinson, when he's on the field, you feel it, you see it. 24 years old, very bright future ahead of him, in my opinion. He has 8 solo tackles so far on this season. We know that he deserves more snaps. That's what I want to see from Dominique Robinson, and the fact that I want to see more sacks from a player that has 8 solo tackles, 12 total, 4 assisted tackles, on 1.5 sacks so far in the season, and he's not played the number of snaps that even Al-Qadim Muhammad has played. I understand that he's a veteran. We expected that coming into the season, but I think Dominique Robinson has shown an ability to be a playmaker on this team. I want to see him play a little bit more. Zachary Thomas, not really much from him, right? You can't evaluate Zachary Thomas. Treston Ebner, in the regular season, it's been hard to evaluate him because he just hasn't got the opportunity he had in preseason. Preseason, he looked really good. I actually want to see the Bears use him more intentively in the passing game, especially when you look at how our passing game has gone. I want to see him used more in special teams. I know he's not the greatest punt returner, but he's a great kick returner. I even want to see him maybe used in that punt returning game because Velus hasn't given us much. So, again, kind of an even one, hard to evaluate. J. Tyree Carter, hard to evaluate. But the Bears also did, Trenton Gill, Doug Kramer, kind of hard to evaluate all those players. But then when you look at also what we brought in the undrafted market, right? Jack Sanborn, who was great for us in preseason, haven't gotten a lot to see him in regular season. Jalen Jones, though, being able to step in, be a starter at certain times for the Chicago Bears, especially when Johnson went down. Again, another positive for me. No, he was not drafted. He was signed as an undrafted free agent, but it shows Ryan Poles' ability to go out and find talent. Alex Leatherwood, not a rookie, he's in his second year. Another player that could very well pay off and eventually be in the starter. And the Bears got him on the waiver wire. So overall, I know I started this by saying that the Bears rookies, I'm still fairly high on what Ryan Poles was able to do, not having any first-round picks, getting more picks, getting more bites at the apple with this draft class. But I want to hear from you guys. How do you rank the rookies so far from the Chicago Bears, who's had the best, who's had the least, who you guys already thinking is not going to be an NFL player and long for this team? Who do you think has a bright future for this team as well? Let me know all that down below. All right, let's move into the last thing that we have for today, and that is voicemails. We got 2 voicemails coming in today. This first one, this is from Alexander.
Hey, what's up, Haize? This is Antonio Alexander. I love the show. I love what you're doing, and I appreciate y'all for what y'all doing. And, I'm a Bears fan, grew up a Bears fan all my life. So I just wanted to make a comment on Justin Fields. He gets a lot of flack, because he makes mistakes in the passing game. But to me, personally, a lot of these, media guys love to try to nitpick him, but they also say, oh, the Bears don't throw the ball much, and they need to let Justin Fields play. They need to let him learn how to play quarterback. But when they start doing that, that's when, and he's going to make mistakes. He's just really finishing up a full season. So with that, they try to downplay him like he's supposed to come in and he's supposed to play like a veteran. And he's just really in his second season, just starting. So I'm just, tired of saying either you're going to let him play or you just going to run the ball. Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I expect him to make mistakes, and learn from them, which he does. You can see that in his game. And I think we just got to be patient this year and let the young man grow, let the coaches and the GM, this year, this their first year too. So we got to let them grow as well and be patient. This season, I'm not into thinking we're going to even make the playoffs this year, but, as long as I see growth and them fighting, trying to win, that's good enough for me, So thanks, Haize. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you guys, and we need y'all. Thank you.
All right, Alexander, the Justin Fields criticism. Listen, it's going to happen. When you have a second-year quarterback that was very highly coveted, that had a accomplished collegiate career in what he did for Ohio State, and you have a team that I think everybody's kind of, whether they want to admit it or not, everybody's watching the Bears. No matter how bad we're projected to be, everybody is watching the Bears to see how Justin Fields, to see how this rookie head coach does and the coordinators. Everybody is watching this team. And as of right now, while his play has been improved the last couple of weeks, it still leaves a lot to be desired, and that criticism is going to get thrown his way. Is it even? Bobby talked about that on our episode yesterday. No, it's not all fair. It's not all even. He's not evaluated the same way that some of the other quarterbacks and young quarterbacks are in this league. But at the end of the day, look, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's him, whatever it is, yes, the criticism is going to be thrown. How he deals with it is going to show his poise. It's going to show, the faith of the organization in him. And, when you come in as a young quarterback and you start early in this league, there are going to be eyes on you, and there are eyes on Justin Fields and what this Bears team does. And that's going to be until it's one of two things, right? It's going to go one of a few different ways. Either he's not going to live up to it and the criticism is going to go away because people are just going to say and think he's trash, or he's going to excel and the eyes are always going to be there, because if he does excel, then he's always going to be one of those quarterbacks that is under criticism. Or another route that it could go is he can just go even kill, right? He's just a so-so quarterback, and then nobody kind of talks about him, right? So there's a lot of different ways that it can go. But as far as this point in the season, the criticism around Justin Fields, is it warranted to a degree? I would say yes. But if you look at his numbers, as far as the first 17 games of his career, almost 3,000 yards passing. Yes, more interceptions than touchdowns. That's going to happen for a rookie quarterback. He's played pretty solid overall, considering the offensive line, the weapons issues, the Nagy offense in which he played more games, and all of that type of thing, right? is all going to factor in. At the end of the day, it's up to Justin Fields to stand up, develop, and this coaching staff to put him in situations and to get better weapons around him so that we can really truly evaluate Justin Fields and see what he's going to be as a quarterback in the future. That's my opinion on that one. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one is from Rory.
Hey, Bobby, C-Dub, what's up, my brothers? Hey, it's your boy Rory again, man. Hey, I'm going to keep bugging y'all, man. You know, I'm on the same page with y'all, man. This is ridiculous, man. That loss to the Commanders, are you kidding me? Bro, I got a question for y'all, right? So, if Fields next year, this team going to look totally different, you know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a lot of people getting traded and cut. And through the draft, we're going to get some good draft picks. And we got the salary cap next year. We got a huge salary cap. So if Justin Fields get him the weapons, fix that offensive line, get him some real number one, wide receivers, some real, dangerous receivers, and he gets some guys on that secondary on that defense that can sack the box to stop the run. You know what I'm saying? To help our run defense. And if we do that, so my question is, do you think Fields would be, would he be better? Now he got the weapons, now he got the offensive line and everything. Or do you think the play calling, with Getsy will get better because now he has the weapons to work with? You think Getsy's being conservative and, with his play calling because he really doesn't have the talent, to go around to help Fields? You know what I'm saying? To throw it, our receivers dropping balls and everything, you know what I'm saying? Not completing catches. It's crazy. So do you think Getsy's going to get better with his play calling and we're going to get better, or do you think Fields going to become more productive and get better because now he has the talent? So, hey, get at me, man, and if you do a show or something like that, hey, let me know what you guys think about that question. All right?
All right, Rory asked a great question. What do we think improves more from an improved roster? Luke Getsy's play calling or Justin Fields just being a better? And I would say both. Hopefully both. In a perfect world, you see both. You see that Justin Fields having better weapons, being more protected by the offensive line, and him play better as a quarterback. And when he does have to go to the pocket, that he's more confident in there. He can take more time to go through his progressions. He can just be that pocket quarterback and then use his legs to more rely on. When you have a quarterback that has great legs, right, that can run the ball, on top of an offensive line that can protect for him, to where when he does run, it's truly because the play has just broken down and now you can trust him to go out and make plays with his legs in the running game. I think that's definitely going to be something that Justin Fields improve on top of the more catches. We know we've had a lot of drops, better weapons in that sense. So I think it's both. Now, as far as Luke Getsy's offense, I love what you went there. Is Luke Getsy being more conservative, not just to save Justin Fields, right? But maybe because he just doesn't have the weapons to implement the offense that he truly wants to do. We've seen bits and pieces of the creativity that Luke Getsy can have. I think the play calling needs to be better overall anyway. But if Luke Getsy, for example, has more weapons and can trust the O-line to protect his quarterback a little bit more, I do think we start seeing that creativity come out a little bit more consistently in how he uses players like Velus Jones in the running game, things like that. I do think that we can get more creative with a better team overall. But it's a long way until that. So we got to see the building pieces, the building blocks of that now for this team so we can see, hey, what is it going to be? Because there's a lot of criticism thrown Luke Getsy's way, and I think it's justified in a lot of ways as well. But I can also understand that, hey, we can't completely unlock this playbook until we can get and execute the simple plays well, right? Whether you blame it on Griffin or Justin Fields for that missed pass in the end zone, whoever you blame that on, execute that better. When you see the drop passes by Mooney and everybody else and the fumbles from Smith-Marset and people, when you see that, hey, let's prove we can hold on to the ball before we get even more creative. So there's a mindset where it plays into either side of that. But I think with the improvement of the team, yes, we're going to see development more from Justin Fields, and I do hope that we see a more creative Luke Getsy offense that we were expecting, that we've heard about, that all these things that we get this, like I said, we've seen bits and pieces of it. And those glimpses do look good. Like Getsy called 2 great drives back to back that both ended on boneheaded plays. And he did more drives after that as well. So we've seen that Luke Getsy does have that. And I think you make a great point in saying, hey, maybe why we're not seeing this offense completely opened up is just because the execution of this team is not there. Agree with that 100%. Let me know what you guys think on that one down below. But that is it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being the best part of the channel. Make sure you're following us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail, The number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Like I like to end every episode on, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.